Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Wednesday, April 16th, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. This is the basic weekly chart. We closed below this channel bottom at 110.54 2 weeks ago. We even opened below it on a Monday morning. Then the following week, we continued the collapse that we were expecting to 79.64, only to spring back late last week on the pausing of the tariffs for 90 days, and we closed just above the channel bottom. Not enough really to consider it a secondary show of follow-through buying, but it is holding roughly so far this week, and that is the skew, if you will, is still to the upside, one of recovery over the next couple, 2-3 weeks into what is now 128.37, a descending two-thirds speed line. And you can see the channel bottom at 110.35 has been holding. It held pretty well on Tuesday. It may continue to do so, working upside. I do have 115.10. I see that as a meaningful upward pivot point today. I do think it's a level that aggressive day traders can trade, whether you're long from 110.35 and taking profits at 115.10, or perhaps even playing the short side at 115.10. But I do think the skew, if you will, is one of upward continuation. Now, I say that with mixed feelings because as I said before, we did not close firmly back above that channel bottom last week. And so it is a bit of a mixed bag. The market is kind of in a state of pause, but nonetheless, I think you need to respect its ability to sort of, I don't want to use the word rally, but sort of progress its way into the upper 120s over the next couple of weeks, where, I might add, a sell opportunity does present through the month of May. And from here, we can indeed fall back not only into the 110 handle, but even south to new lows. That is a real possibility here that I think could emerge as we move through May. Now, if we were to close above 128.37 over the next few weeks, then actually see a good low, not only for the second quarter, but quite possibly into later year or through the rest of the year. Under that scenario, I would at least expect within probably 3 to 5 weeks a retest of the 153.13 January all-time high. But we're a long way from that right now. We've got 115.10 today to the upside. If we push through it, 118.85 is likely. I've mentioned how holding above 110.35 presents a 3 to 5 day buy opportunity to 118.85. Now, there's really no momentum at this point in time. That doesn't mean it can't reemerge here today. I do think if we push through 115.10 today, momentum should kick in at least for part of the day to 118.85, where a daily high can be placed. And yes, if we close above 118.85, that leaves little doubt that we'll reach 128.37 by the end of next week. It's also 127.72 5/8 Fibonacci. This area well suited to contain buying through the month of May. I see no good reason to, how should I put this? I'm just going to rephrase it. I was going to say no good reason to be long after testing 128.37. It's the same as just saying when we get to 128.37, you might consider playing the short side. Back to 110.35 within 2 to 3 weeks, and even as far south. From 128.37, there is a particular scenario where we could fall all the way back. Now, that's the weekly chart. Fall all the way back to the 79.64 area within a matter of a month or two. I do think that is what is possible here, as long as the tariff situation holds, as long as we continue with the 10% plus, and that we go to all-out war, continue that with China. I'm talking trade war. I do think that's going to weigh on the market. Now, I'm not expecting Armageddon or anything, but what I do think is likely is the upper 70s, low 80s as a base the market can test in the coming weeks, the next couple of months, that could actually contain perhaps annual selling pressures. And then from here, we can resume an upward trend gradually as we move into later year. Now, I will say that if we close above 128.37, that is a signal to go long. So no good reason to be short if we've settled above 128.37. Let's cover the downside today. There's not a lot to hang your hat on, so to speak, below 110.35. We do have 109 109.07, and that was Monday's low, I believe. And we've got 106.96, 104.22. They're just little levels on the way down. Why I'm struggling with this right now is because I don't see 101.33 or 101.93 in reach today. That would require a volatility level that we haven't seen since late last week. But anything is possible. And if we break, especially if we open below 110.35, and keep in mind that would also be below yesterday's low. So when the market's quiet like this and we get these inside days, inside Tuesday's trade was inside Monday's trade, and we break the confines of Tuesday, that sometimes has pivot point qualities. Now, in the case of the upside, if we push through Tuesday's high, I'm only expecting 115.10. I still like this as the pivot point for the day. But in terms of the downside, you could actually just use 110.35. And might we test 101.93 by the closing bell? It is certainly possible, especially if you factor in the possibility of volatility that plagued the market just a week ago. In any event, I'm going to put it this way. If we close today below 110.35, we have a good high for the week, and I would expect within several days 101.93, where profits can be taken in a short position. And yes, long entry for day traders and 3 to 5 day swing traders back into the 110 handle. But overall, if we close the week Thursday, below the 110.54 formation, that's 110.35 on the weekly chart, selling pressures can continue to build, and yes, 79.64 in reach, either with a settlement this week, that is Thursday, below 110.54, 79.64 in reach by the end of May, or over the next few weeks we rally into the upper 120s where a short sale can be made, anticipating possible bearish rotation back into the upper 70s, long-term support down here within a month or two of doing so. At this stage, the only long-term buy opportunity that I see is either A, above 128.37, where you're holding through the rest of the year really, or B, if we happen to slip into the upper 70s. This is the same thing. You can buy NVIDIA over the longer haul, investment grade through the rest of the year at 79.64 and climbing. This 110.54 level, I think at this point, just offers like a 2 to 3 day pivot point to the upside into the upper 120s as already expressed, and same 2 to 3 to 5 week pivot point to the downside to 79.64 if we close the week Friday below it. Last thing I'm going to say is if we close below 101.93 over the next few days, that's 79 and change, that long-term support here at 79.64 is just a week or two away. So on Tuesday, wickedstocks.com put out 2 stock picks, one on Motorola, the other on Dutch Brothers. You can see them both for free by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 5-day free trial. We're looking for stocks that are setting up for decent buy signals. These are not tech stocks, of course. Well, Motorola is more hardware, but it was at one time. Well, I'm not going to go there. If we close above, what I'm saying is there are descending channel tops coming off these highs from December and January in a lot of these stocks, and you can actually kind of see a similar structure here. In fact, I'm going to take us to where is the chart? I'm going to show you right here if you're still with me. I can only see it on the daily chart. The weekly chart, it shows up even, it looks a little bit more succinct. 118.85, an upward pivot point. We're seeing a lot of this with a lot of the stocks. Now, some of them have speed lines in the same vicinity, some of them don't. And I'm going with NVIDIA. I'm using the upper 120s as our big resistance because I like how it correlates with the 5/8 Fibonacci. But with some of these stocks, we've got these clear-cut buy signals if we settle above these channel tops. And you can see both for Dutch Brothers and Motorola that we put on Tuesday for free by going to wickedstocks.com and taking advantage of our 5-day free trial. You'll also see daily Triple Q, daily SPY analysis, weekly Apple stock analysis. You'll see last week's stock picks and a little bit of next week as well. So go to wickedstocks.com and take advantage of that 5-day free trial. I'll be back tomorrow, of course, with Thursday's NVIDIA. You have a great day.